Trax is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, time for some off-road living. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
What's the number one thing that comes to mind when someone says Yamaha Grizzly? For me, it's dependability. That's the number one thing the Grizzly is known for. Its dependability is what has solidified the Grizzly's legendary status in the industry. No matter what situation you find yourself in, the Grizz will get you out of it. And while this one trait on its own is a perfectly good reason to buy a Grizzly, it's so much more than just a one-trick pony. It's also highly capable as well. Its 700 single may not be the most powerful, but it's proven time and time again that there's basically nothing it can't do. Its sturdy frame can take a beating. Its simple double A-arm suspension setups front and rear provide good ride and handling characteristics. Steel racks are tough and offer unlimited tie-down options. And finally, its Ultramatic CV transmission is widely considered to be one of, if not the best and most durable belt transmission systems in the industry. For 2023, the Grizzly comes in two packages, the EPS and the EPS SE, which is what we have here. Now, the EPS SE package gets you this really cool SE-only color and graphics, as well as 27-inch Maxxis Zilla tires wrapped around 14-inch aluminum wheels and the Warn winch pre-installed from the factory. It really is a great package with truly useful upgrades aimed directly at making the Grizzly even more capable than it already is. Now, with that said, it's interesting that you can't get an SE in camo. I point this out only because features like a winch and ultra-aggressive tires like the Maxxis Zillas are things hunters will want. In my opinion, there really should be a camo SE option. Clearly, this SE is sporting some upgrades that are not included from the factory. We've got this upgraded front bumper, these gear clamps on the front, the cargo box at the back, full aluminum skid plating, and of course, this gun boot. Now at first, I thought the gun boot was a bit of a weird inclusion. I mean, this ATV has high-vis accents, not exactly the stealth look most people who actually use a gun boot prefer. But then I got thinking about how I would use this Grizzly with its included features and accessories. And while I do have a hunting license, I don't actually hunt. I just don't have the patience. But I do love to target shoot and have a few places I like to go when I want to shoot longer ranges. Problem is, these places can be a bit tricky to get to, but as I got looking at this Grizzly with the way it's set up, I realized this thing would make getting in there pretty much effortless, so I loaded up all my gear and headed up to punch some holes. Now admittedly, it's been a few years since I personally tested a Grizzly, and the first thing that struck me was how smooth this SE rides. I assumed the big aggressive tires were going to be stiff and the ride harsh, but I couldn't have been more wrong. The ride is decidedly plush. Handling is also good. The power steering is tuned perfectly, definitely no complaints there. Now, as I've said in the past, Grizzlies do tend to roll up onto their outside front wheel when you're cornering. That feeling isn't gone, but I think these tires have improved it a bit. In the tight and technical trails I rode getting to my favorite shooting spot, the Grizzly was precise, stable, and the steering was effortless. As I said, it's been a while since I've tested a Grizzly, and I'd almost forgot how grunty this 700 single feels. It runs flawlessly with no flameouts or stalls. But man, when you need that bottom end pull, it's got it in spades. Getting the engine to rev up is decidedly slower than a twin, but once that big single is rolling, power is immediate. The Ultramatic transmission is just so good as well. It shifts great and does such a good job of protecting the belt, you almost never need to use low range. As far as comfort is concerned, I find the Grizzly to be very comfortable. The seat is soft, but still easy to move around on. Handlebars are in a good position, and the floorboards are large and very grippy. I like the gauge as well. Its big numbers and letters are easy to read, and it looks really nice integrated into the pod. Lighting is excellent with LED bulbs all the way around. The only ergonomic gripe I have is that the gun boot makes it nearly impossible to get off the ATV on the right side, but that's the gun boot's fault, not the ATV. The Zillas get great forward grip on the ground, and they work excellent in this mixture of snow and dirt we have here in Ontario right now. I will say though, on higher speed roads and trails, they do make the handling feel a little bit vague. They tend to allow the machine to wander a bit. It's not really a big deal, but it will be a trade-off you'll have to accept. Now, I didn't need the winch, but it was nice to know it was there, and I did use 4x4 with the front diff unlocked all day, and I was very impressed with the traction versus turning effort and radius compromise. The trails I rode to get to my shooting spot were a mix of high-speed fun and low-speed crawling. There wasn't a single spot the Grizzly struggled with, and it never left me feeling like it wasn't doing something I wanted it to do. It was comfortable, offered great power, handled well, and provided me the extra confidence and security that it wouldn't let me down. While I know everyone is dying for Yamaha to release an ATV with a larger engine, I have to be honest. I really feel the Grizzly is all I would ever need, and then some.
Trail Tech is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
You know, having a track kit in the wintertime really is a nice feature, but the reality is a lot of folks aren't going to drop $4,000 to $6,000 just for the wintertime use. So what really is your next best option? During the winter, you're looking for excellent traction, which also includes excellent clear out, where the lugs of the tire don't get packed in so tightly that the snow can't escape, and turning your tire essentially into a slick. So a good lug layout and a lug to void ratio is really key. Now, a tire that ITP suggests for the winter months is the TerraHook. It's one of their high-end radial designs, and it has that balanced lug to void ratio that we're looking for. The multi-angled lugs on the TerraHook make for a non-directional design that really does attack the winter snow aggressively. The rubber compound used is especially key as it allows the tire to stay grippy in the colder conditions and delivers that supreme traction we need, especially when plowing snow. And that's exactly why we're going to outfit this Ranger with our brand new set of TerraHooks on brand new ITP rims. No matter what ITP rims you buy, the lifetime warranty is impressive against bending or breakage. Today we have a set of 15-inch Momentum rims that are absolutely beautiful looking. The high gloss black offset with the milled aluminum features make this rim look like it's from a custom pickup truck. The faux beadlock mill points on the outer edge look cool, and the inner rock armor wheel lip gives you the big protection you need against the abuse us off-roaders see out on the trails. Now for our Ranger, we opted for a square tire setup of matching TerraHooks on 15-inch ITP rims. They're going to be a bit bigger, but we're not going to need a clutch kit. These TerraHooks look very aggressive on the Ranger, and while we are using these for winter use, they look impressive and give the Ranger some more style. But looks are only one part of the story. It's the functionality that we're going for and looking for that tire and wheel package that will help plow snow in the dead of winter. That's what I'm here for. I mean, it doesn't hurt that they look incredible on the Ranger, but function is definitely trumping form in this case. Like I mentioned earlier, plowing is key, and that's exactly what I'm looking to do with these TerraHooks during this winter. The features of this tire are pretty unique, especially so are the channels or cutouts in the tread block. These reliefs allow the middle biting lugs to be able to flex more over whatever you're driving on and to get that center block to dig into the snow in my case. While you won't find ITP calling this a winter tire, its ability to flex that tread makes it great for soft terrain as well as snow. Yeah, snow's pretty soft. Now, if you do find yourself in deeper situations, the shoulder lugs will grip at anything they come in contact with, and they alternate, so they'll grab from different angles. The treads on this tire also feature alternating pitches that give you more traction on more surfaces. I know that that's a lot of tech talk, but what I'm saying is that the 3/4 inch deep lugs on this TerraHook will deliver incredible traction in a very wide range of traction situations. So if winter prep is on your mind, make sure that you're looking at the right tire and rim package for your ATV or side-by-side, and that's going to keep you pushing more snow all winter long.
Trax is sponsored by MPRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap.
You wanted more ATV content? We delivered. It feels like in the past month or so, the manufacturers just turned on some imaginary faucet and unloaded a whole bunch of ATVs into our care. And today, I get to showcase this Outlander Max XT featuring the 62 horsepower ROTAX 650 engine. This unit is a 2022, and it should be noted that for 23, the 650 is not available in the Outlander Max. In fact, the 650 is only available in the 2023 Outlander 6x6 DPS. So if you've been lucky enough to pick up a 22 with a 650, or you're watching this while eyeballing a used Max with a 650, stay tuned and I'll cover off some of the highlights of this unit that you've asked us to cover. Biggest feature of the Max is your ability to bring along a passenger. Two-up machines are pretty awesome, and what's always impressed me about Can-Ams is that whether you're riding by yourself or with a passenger, you don't have to sacrifice performance. The Outlander Max XT has an 8-inch longer wheelbase than the 1-up Outlander XT and features raised foot pegs in the footwells and a higher, comfortable passenger seat with multi-position passenger hand grips. That extra length means there's a ton of room in the saddle, and there's plenty of room in the footwells too, so you and your passenger can ride comfortably all day long. Its 59-inch wheelbase also offers more stability when climbing and navigating aggressive terrain. Plus, the longer wheelbase is a huge check mark in the safety column compared to adding a king-queen seat to your standard-sized ATV. Like I mentioned earlier, you truly give up nothing in the way of performance with the Max, and as much fun as it is to ride with a passenger, the reality is you're probably going to spend the majority of your time riding this machine solo. Now, I'm going to rip this thing today with the passenger seat intact, but the Max is equipped with a convertible rack system, so you can easily remove the passenger seat and replace it with link accessories like a cargo box to give your Outlander Max the look of a one-upper and provide more storage for your valuables. I've been a huge fan of the 650 engine ever since I got some time trail riding the Outlander 650 Mossy Oak Edition a few seasons back. 62 horsepower is more than decent power, and the V-twin has a nice low rumble at idle, and it roars like a frickin' bear when you press the throttle. Low to mid-range power out of the 650 engine is impressive, and truthfully, it's where you're going to spend the majority of your time while you're riding this machine. Here's the kicker though, top end is impressive too. Up front, the Max features arched double A-arms with a front sway bar and 9.2 inches of travel. Out back is Can-Am's torsional trailing arm independent suspension delivering 9.9 inches of travel. The suspension is actually set up really nice for a sport utility ATV, and Can-Am's done a decent job of finding that happy middle ground so suspension performs well with one rider or with two. The shocks on the XT aren't anything too impressive. They're simply steel body twin tube oil emulsion shocks with cam adjusters for preload. It should be noted though that if you move up to an XTP or a Limited, the Max is equipped with Fox 1.5 Podium QS3 shocks, which offer tremendous value on those units. That said though, these shocks are decent enough, and if you plan to keep your ATV for a little bit, you can always upgrade your shocks yourself at any time. Power? Check. Suspension? Check. But how's it handle? The XT is equipped with Can-Am's Tri-Mode DPS. Now, I've always felt that Can-Am does a sensational job of dialing in its dynamic power steering, and the Tri-Mode system gives you way more control over exactly how much input you want. Tri-Mode DPS kind of makes me feel like a more adorable version of Goldilocks. That minimum setting isn't quite enough input, and the max setting sometimes feels like it's too much, but that medium setting is just right. There's almost no feedback up through the handlebars as you navigate stumps and rocky terrain, which limits fatigue in your arms and shoulders so you can ride longer and feel better the next day. Thanks to the front sway bars, body roll is very limited, so you can attack corners aggressively and get the back end a little loose, and the Max remains planted. The XT comes equipped with 26-inch ITP Terracross tires wrapped around really nice blacked out 14-inch aluminum wheels. These tires might actually be my favorite off-road tire on the market, and probably what I would choose to upgrade to if I was shopping for new tires. This is not a square tire setup, and I am totally fine with that, as I find that wider fronts make steering heavier than it needs to be. I've debated this online so many times, and I get that some of you swear by a square tire setup, but for me though, this is the setup that works best on an ATV, and if you still want to debate me, I'll be by my keyboard waiting. Typically when I'm buying something, I don't go for the base model. There's nothing wrong with a base model, I just like a few extras. That said, I don't usually buy the top of the line model either. I like to find that happy middle ground where value meets investment, and this Outlander Max is loaded with value. This package comes complete with the Terracross tires we talked about earlier wrapped around these 14-inch aluminum wheels. Heavy-duty front and rear bumpers that actually look pretty rad, handguards and mudguards, and a 4.5-inch digital display, digitally encoded security, and a 3,500-pound winch, plus 300-pound combined rack capacity and a 1,650-pound towing capacity, so you can load it up with all your gear and your favorite human and head out for adventure. I've been pretty positive about this machine so far, and rightly so. Can-Am deserves praise for this unit. But the one thing that drives me nuts about this machine is this digital display. It's not because it isn't functional. It's got everything I need, and truthfully, it's easy enough to read and has all the basic information that I want. I just feel that Can-Am could give us a larger, more colorful display, and that would put the XT over the top against competitively priced ATVs. The bottom line is Can-Am makes a heck of an ATV. This Outlander Max XT is loaded with great features, it rides and handles really nice, and its 650 power plant is one of the smoothest engines on the market. Plus, this ATV can be enjoyed just as much with a passenger as without, and I wouldn't hesitate for a single second to grab one of these as my own personal machine.
Dirt Trax has been sponsored by Hercules Tire, ride on our strength. Tire Jet, full tire protection and permanent seal. And by Mad Ramps, leave the trailer and go.
Okay, so what are we doing? 2022 has been a big year, both here at Dirt Trax and in the industry as a whole. We've seen some incredible new technological advancements. We've seen some new players in the marketplace. We've had a good time going to different places and riding different spots. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's been a huge year. We've had a lot of really cool technology. Number one being, I think what really started the year was Polaris with their new 4-cylinder engine in the new Razor. I mean, that to me was like just out of the cannon right away, and I think you probably have the most experience with it.
I spent a lot of time in the Pro R, and I couldn't believe it. The acceleration, the suspension, the handling, it's all incredible. Even the Turbo R that we've got is
super impressive.
Yeah.
We did that test where we drag raced them, and the Turbo R, honestly, I think impressed us more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Dynamics DV.
When you park this next to your pickup truck, it doesn't look small, which I mean...
Parked next to my buddy's pickup truck, it was actually longer wheelbase.
Exactly, like you just think about where we've come in so many years. So I think that's probably one of the hallmarks of this season is Polaris's new Razors.
And the response we got online about the Razor engine, I mean, clearly it was something that everybody wanted to see. It's probably one of our most popular videos of the season, probably one of our most popular videos overall.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then when you guys did that drag race too, that was so cool. The response was so surprising. I think everyone was just
For us too.
Yeah, we were shocked as well. We were shocked as well, definitely. Now, Mike, you went to Polaris this year, and you also got to see some new technology that Luke and I haven't had a chance to get into.
The Ranger XP Kinetic was such a surprise. It's such a great vehicle. I love Rangers. They're awesome. They ride and handle excellent, and this one just followed suit. They've done a tremendous job. There's decent power, 110 horsepower. The range is getting better on these EVs. I think it's like 80 miles is the total range.
The technology is growing in the electric segment. My opinion, we all have our own, is that it's not quite there yet, but it's coming. And
it's not for everybody.
The Kinetic is proof that it's getting better. AJ, you actually have had some experience on some cool vehicles this year too. What were some of your standouts?
You know what, the Fugelman, and I smile every time I say that name just because it's funny, but I was actually really impressed with Segway's products. We got 2 of them here this year, and the Fugelman as sport utility, I was impressed with. It's a really good vehicle. They're delivering a really quality product. The ride and handling was great. The motor is solid. The technology is very unique. I mean, they're definitely the Tesla of off-road right now, but you got to test the sport one.
Yeah, I rode the Villain, and honestly, my expectations were really low when we brought it off the trailer. But once I started walking around it, the fit and finish, the build quality, just like the Fugelman, is top of the line. It would rival any of the North American manufacturers easily. The performance of it fit right into its category. Both of those vehicles solidified Segway as a legitimate, like, totally consider them as a player.
And the stuff they have coming in the future, I think, is what's really
that's the one thing we didn't get to test was the hybrid stuff, but it is coming and it does work.
And we're talking about something new, but Mike, you got to do a little bit of old. I mean, not old, but it's new old because it really hasn't changed that much.
Our viewers kept asking us for ATV content, and we're hard pressed to get any ATVs this year, and the first one we got was a Raptor 700. Like, man, that thing is so awesome. I got to spend the whole day riding a sport quad and just had like the best time. I was so impressed with that. And man, it's just like a renewed love for ATVs for sure.
Yeah, there's something about going back to rear wheel, solid axle, just
shifting
performance, shifting gears, lifting the front wheels.
I tested the Sportsman 1000 for the first time in a couple of years. And the front end comes up on that nobody's business.
I would think so.
I was blown away by that thing. It's funny. And actually, I just got finished testing the Grizzly. And I hadn't been on a Grizzly. You've tested a couple, and I hadn't been on one for a few years. And honestly, that's a great ATV.
It is.
Honestly,
that's
I think it's one of my
motor.
favorite ATVs in the market right now.
So I think we've pretty much covered off the fact that 2022 was a really good year. Lots of cool stuff happened. Lots of good technology.
you kind of
you had
went somewhere that was fun and had a cool
I did.
trip.
Yeah, when I went to West Virginia, this is the first time I ever got to take my wife and kids along with me on a trip. I had the opportunity to go to Hatfield, and honestly, it didn't just change my perspective of off-road riding. It changed my whole family's perspective. Like, they want to go do this more.
Sitting over here watching that segment, I mean, I thought it was so cool because your kids are at like the perfect age for discovery, and you could see it in their eyes. They were just so happy.
It was a blast. 2022 was awesome, and the product delivered was awesome. And I don't know what 2023's got up its sleeve, but I hope it's equally as amazing.
Yeah.